Another, the $1.5 trillion bank has came out and made a very interesting 2025 prediction for Bitcoin. But what if I told you they are not alone? This week, we've seen multiple multi-trillion dollar banks come out and make very, very, very big and shocking Bitcoin predictions. I'd like to remind you guys, 10 of the world's largest banks have already been balls deep into Bitcoin even before this holiday season. We can see Standard Chartered, Morgan Stanley, Citibank, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, DBS Bank, BBVA, Bank of Wells Fargo, UBS, and BNP Paribas. But why, oh why, are we seeing more multi-trillion dollar banks come out and make big, big, bold Bitcoin predictions over the holiday season, during the whole Christmas Eve festivity season, while everybody is away from their computer and away from their laptop? Today, I want to be diving into why I believe these big banks are quietly positioning themselves for Trump to be officially elected into office in just a couple of weeks' time. I really do think the last rats on the fiat ship, they're jumping off that Titanic. They're saying, okay, enough's enough. Even the banks who have really kind of held out and not embraced Bitcoin, okay? A lot of banks moved first and they moved early in 2024 and they did adopt Bitcoin after BlackRock made a pretty big social signal by launching their first Bitcoin spot ETF. I think we're seeing signs that slowly but surely the last stragglers on the fiat Titanic are right now jumping ship. They are saying, okay, maybe, just maybe, enough is enough. Maybe, just maybe, we need to adopt rat poison squared. And that, of course, is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the rat poison. And Bitcoin is, I believe, slowly but surely being embraced by these multi-trillion dollar banks. So let's have a look at what's happening. This is one of the news headlines I saw pop out on Christmas Eve. Have a look at the date of that. December 31st, $1.5 trillion bank Franklin Templeton predicts Bitcoin reserves to expand globally in 2025. Again, we've talked about this a lot, so we're not going to rehash this topic in this video, but I do think it's interesting. We can see here politicians in Germany and Hong Kong have even signaled their interest in adopting strategic reserves for nation states. Now, Franklin Templeton, they are a $1.5 trillion asset manager, and we can see they took to Twitter. Now, I've got the original source here. We're going to check this out. This is the official Twitter account of a $1.5 trillion giant, and they said, in 2025, the crypto landscape will likely see pivotal advancements shaped by regulatory clarity, institutional adoption, and technological evolution. So they are getting bullish on Bitcoin. Okay, and we do know right now that there are some pretty big, some very big countries all around the world that we've talked about a lot, talking about these strategic Bitcoin reserves. And I do think that some of these massive banks right now, they're front running these nations that we're talking about. These nations like Germany and Hong Kong. We can see both of those big giants in the past week. We made videos on them, and they are talking about strategic Bitcoin reserves. We didn't actually show you the video of the former German finance minister talking about the potential of Bitcoin being adopted by the Central Bank of Germany and the ECB, the Central Bank of Europe. Okay, but there is a video. It's been circulating around, and all of a sudden, Franklin Templeton is the latest bank to look at this chart and say, yeah, you know what, maybe we should be adopting Bitcoin, because now the market cap of Bitcoin, it's bigger than the major banks in America. It's bigger than JP Morgan. It's bigger than Bank of America. It's bigger than one of the biggest banks of China. Okay, Bitcoin is completely decimating the biggest banks, which is why I think we're beginning to see even the very last banks who weren't entirely bullish on Bitcoin the whole time embrace it. This is a story we also touched on earlier in the week, and this was the incoming Charles Schwab CEO. I have not bought crypto and I now feel silly. Okay, there was a video we played you guys of the incoming CEO, Rick Wurster, and he like a lot of these big banks, has kind of begun to say the quiet parts out loud. He also has said, yeah, you know what? Maybe just maybe this Bitcoin thing, maybe it's a trend. Maybe it's something that is really taking off. Maybe, just maybe this Bitcoin thing is something that needs to be paid attention to. Now, you know what else needs to be, well, it needs a little bit of attention. Well, today is January 3rd. Now, I want to see if the chat knows what we're about to start talking about, but January 3rd is a little bit of a historic day in Bitcoin, okay? Again, January 3rd was the date that the very first Bitcoin block was ever mined in 2009. So we can see here, we are today, we're talking about the big banks embracing Bitcoin, and it's officially taken them 16 years to finally come around to realize the financial revolution that Bitcoin is. Okay, it's January 3rd. It is Genesis block day. Now, there is actually another very special day on January 3rd. And it's a very special day for a number of reasons. Okay, we can see that January 3rd is also a special day in the Bitcoin space. It is also known as Proof of Keys Day. So what is this? What is Proof of Keys Day? Well, we can see here, we are officially 15 hours into Proof of Keys Day. And now this is a special day, and it was created by this man here. I want to see if the chat knows who we're talking about. Again, I'm not going to give it away. What I am going to do is hopefully play a video. Let's see if the audio works on this. All right. We have no audio from that video of Trace Mayer telling us why Proof of Keys Day is so important. I have a little comment here by Satwise. I don't have a trace of an idea of audio. That's incredible. Trace Mayer, a few people in chat know that we are talking about Proof of Keys Day. But this man here, Trace Mayer, very important man for a number of reasons, okay? He started the tradition of Proof of Keys Day. This is a tradition where people drain the exchanges of Bitcoin. And as Trace said in the video that only I could hear, he said, we need to make sure that the exchanges actually have the Bitcoin that they're supposed to hold. Again, it's on the blockchain, but if you're trusting a third party with Bitcoin, you don't even know they own it, okay? Again, what happened with FTX? That was supposed to have 80,000 Bitcoin. When the tide went out and we found out who was swimming naked, it was made abundantly clear that FTX held 0 Bitcoin. This is what days like today are for, Proof of Keys Day. They are to make sure that your Bitcoin's actually on the exchange, or the ETF actually has the Bitcoin that they claim to hold. Again, this is a 4-year trend that we are living through. This is a chart of the Bitcoin sitting on exchanges. We can see over the past 4 years, Bitcoin has been consistently leaving the exchanges. There will be a day, I've been talking about this for a very long time, there will be a day when that exchange balance hits 0. Now, I really don't want any of you guys to have Bitcoin on exchanges. Well, I don't want you guys to think you have Bitcoin on exchanges when that number hits 0. Okay, let's do a little bit more explaining of Proof of Keys Day and why I think it is so important and why I think it actually relates to these massive multi-trillion-dollar banks that we are talking about today. Okay, before we do that, again, we are talking about Proof of Keys Day. If you don't hold your own Bitcoin, I would encourage you to hold your own Bitcoin. Again, you do not want to be like the 80,000 people who thought they had a Bitcoin on FTX. When that exchange went down, baby, a lot of people who lost a lot of money. As King of Keck in the chat says, who's kicking themselves for not buying more Bitcoin on the dip? What dip, sir? Was there a dip in Bitcoin? Let's have a look. You guys know I love to keep you guys updated with what's going on. I got a couple of messages this week asking me if Bitcoin was dead. Is it all over? Has Bitcoin topped at $107,000? Was Gareth Soloway right? Should we pack it up, boys? Let's have a look. So this is the chart of Bitcoin. We're at $96,000 per big one. So I don't know about you guys, but I don't see much of a dip here. When you really zoom out, again, dips are for buying, especially in bull runs. And again, we always warn you guys, be prepared for what happened in 2017. I mean, just have a look at how many corrections there were in 2017. 38% correction. Let's draw them all. Let's draw all of the corrections. 29% correction. 34% correction. 44% correction. 36% correction. 31% correction. Have a look at them all. This is what the 2017 bull run looked like. It was nuts. It was wild. It was the thing that initially woke me up to Bitcoin. But all of this volatility should be expected. It should be welcomed. Yeah, no, King Keck makes a great point. We did have a dip. Maybe I was being a little bit facetious there. We had a dip from 107 to 92K. But again, it's a pretty small dip in the grand scheme of things. Bitcoin right now, if we go back to 2024 and the current bull run we are in, we haven't seen a huge correction, have we? We're down 16% peak to trough from the top to the bottom. 16% isn't really, it's hardly a dip. It really is hardly a dip in this history of Bitcoin bull runs. Again, like we just showed you, in bull runs, it's very common for Bitcoin to correct by 30%. A 33% correction would take you to 72K. I can guarantee you, hypothetically, not saying this is happening, but if it did happen, if Bitcoin went to $72,000 to retest the previous all-time high, your Gareth Soloways, your shitcoin traders, your TA bros, they would all be saying that it's over. The Bitcoin bull run's done. But in reality, I think it would just be a healthy correction. Again, I'm not trying to predict the future. I'm not telling you guys we're going to see a 30% correction. All I am going to tell you is that nobody knows where the price of Bitcoin is going in the short or the medium term. And nobody knows whether there is going to be Bitcoin on the exchanges. Satwise says, if I don't have a coin on the exchange with a sell editor of 500,000 for a few months, it wicks there. How can I double that Bitcoin when it drops back to 200K? Who knows? Maybe it doesn't drop back to 200K. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Who knows? The one thing we do know is that I don't want the 499 of you guys on this live stream. There we go. We got to 500 of you guys on Twitter and YouTube. I don't want you guys to not understand the importance of today, Proof of Keys Day. Proof of Keys Day on January 3rd. It is an annual tradition in Bitcoin. The multi-trillion-dollar banks are FOMOing into Bitcoin on Proof of Keys Day, which I think is absolutely fascinating. I think it is just yet another signal that we need to be paying very, very close attention to what these banks are doing. And again, please, 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 please do not be one of those people who thinks they have Bitcoin on the exchange. Okay. Today is proof of keys day. Please take custody of your Bitcoin. Go get a hardware wallet and back up your keys, your 12 or 24 Bitcoin words on those titanium plates from Stampseed. Again, I tell you guys about Stampseed all the time. Go check out what they're doing. If you're ever going to take the plunge into actually stamping your Bitcoin keys into titanium, you may as well do it today on Proof of Keys Day, January 3rd. It's an annual tradition in Bitcoin. Take your Bitcoin off the exchange and back them up the way they should be backed up. You guys can get 15% off anything you want to buy from Stampseed. Use the promo code Luke15 for that. And let's have a look at what these big banks are doing. Because again, I think they need to be watched. I think the fact that they are coming into Bitcoin now is a big signal. McLovin's in the chat. G'day, legends. So to answer Dale's question, you can get a Bitcoin node or node software everywhere. I recommend Umbrel. That's a very popular, common, easy to use node that a lot of people use. Highly encourage you to go get a node from Umbrel. All Night Hider says the poor rats have been given a bad name. The fiat rats. Chatwise says the banksters are balls deep, so dirty. They are. Again, guys, this is your opportunity to front run the bankers. The bankers are coming into Bitcoin in a big way. We have multi-trillion-dollar banks quietly announcing their Bitcoin intentions over the New Year's Eve holiday season. I think next week we're going to start to see some interesting things come back to the public light. Again, next week's going to be the 1-year anniversary of the spot Bitcoin ETFs launching in January 2024. So again, I think we're going to see some pretty interesting things happening over the next few weeks. Again, McLovin, Happy New Year to everyone. Satwise in the chat as well is wishing everyone a Happy New Year. Again, I'm going to keep this live stream super short, super sweet. I'm going to end it here. I'm just going to wish you guys a Happy New Year. I'm going to encourage you to keep an eye on what these big multi-trillion-dollar banks are doing. And you're going to see me in another live stream in a few hours' time. I'm going to go get some food and coffee and might go hit the gym in the meantime. So, quick question. Why not live in Cartagena? Okay, quick question. Cartagena is even more of a scam for tourists than Medellin. That's what I've been told. I've never personally been, but it's supposed to be even more dangerous and a little bit more sketchy than Medellin. If you're a beach person, I've heard Cartagena has some of the most beautiful beaches in Colombia. I went to Santa Marta in 2023, and I was disappointed, to be honest. There wasn't much of a beach, and everyone in Colombia says, go to Santa Marta, go to Santa Marta. It's got a beautiful beach. Maybe I've got unrealistic expectations of what a beach is, having lived on the Gold Coast for 4 years. Maybe that's just my perspective that shapes my opinions of beaches. But after being very disappointed with Santa Marta, living there for a month in 2023, haven't really felt the urge to go to Cartagena. So a couple of reasons why I don't live in Cartagena. It's also a lot less developed than Medellin. Medellin has the best restaurants in the world. Not the world, but definitely Colombia. Really nice restaurant scene. Everything's really developed in Medellin. The city is also gorgeous and beautiful. The climate is incredible. It's a lot hotter on the coast. I could talk about Colombia for 10 minutes. I'm just going to end my Colombian rant there. And I'm going to say I hope that was enough information. Rob, message me on Twitter if you want my extended thoughts on Cartagena. But with all that said, guys, I'm going to end this one here. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you in another live stream.